At number 10, Amy Winehouse. I always find it really sad when someone can't live their life completely open and happy with who they are. We are all unique and designed to be 100% ourselves, so when someone can't be genuine in their own life, it's a little tragic. This could sort of be said for Amy Winehouse, as a documentary revealed a pretty big secret that she took to her grave. It turns out that Amy actually struggled with her sexuality. Despite having been married to Blake Fylder Civil and having dated director Reg Travis a year before her passing, it turns out that Amy also had feelings towards women and even had a secret girlfriend. In the BBC documentary Reclaiming Amy, the singer's friend and secret lover Catriona Gorley revealed that Amy was confused about her sexuality. She opened up about their secret affair, saying that Amy used to write her letters saying, quote, "She used to write notes while I was sleeping saying, 'You're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, and how can you look as beautiful asleep as you do awake?'" End quote. As for how Amy felt about her struggle with her sexuality, one can only speculate because she never really opened up about it, but from knowing her so well, Catriona said, quote, "What I took from it knowing her was that she was confused about what it made her. When you have something that is so undefined for years, it's hard." End quote. It's so sad to know that she could never truly be open with herself, and she didn't get the chance to open up that part of herself. At number 9, Brittany Murphy. When news broke of Brittany Murphy's passing in 2009, it came as a shock to a lot of people. It was so sudden that people immediately started up with conspiracy theories as to how she passed away. Per the coroner's report, Brittany's official cause of death was community-acquired pneumonia, but her death sparked a mystery because no one was buying what was reported. After Brittany's husband passed away just 5 months later from similar causes, some thought that it was just a coincidence, but others thought otherwise, specifically the actress's father. He told sources that he believed that there was something more sinister going on and suggested that someone had killed his daughter. He requested that a number of tests be done on Brittany's body in case something was missed or to find new evidence to support his theory, but nothing was found. Though on paper the death of Brittany Murphy is a closed case, others aren't so sure and believe that there are secrets out there that could reveal more. Brittany would have been the one person to know what was really going on, but unfortunately she went to the grave with that secret. Before we carry on talking about the secrets that celebrities have taken with them to the grave, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Marilyn Monroe. Moving on to another mysterious celebrity passing that looks to be shrouded in secrecy, let's talk about Marilyn Monroe and her passing. Marilyn Monroe was found dead in her apartment on August 5th, 1962 at the age of 36. Everyone was shocked by her sudden passing, and an investigation was led to figure out just what had happened to the Hollywood bombshell. It was determined that she had possibly taken her life through an overdose, but many people aren't so sure that's what really happened. A lot of people have theorized that there was more to the story, especially given her connection to the Kennedys. There was a rumor that Marilyn had been having an affair with both JFK and his brother Robert, and some say that Marilyn may have been forced to take her own life because of her ties to the first family. Some think that she was silenced because she wouldn't be able to reveal any secrets about the Kennedys, but no one knows for sure. The CIA reportedly has a file on Marilyn's death, but those classified documents probably won't see the light of day, meaning that only the government and Marilyn herself know the secret as to how the movie star passed away.
And at number 7, Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin is known for a lot of things, specifically being one of the founding fathers of the USA, but it seems he was not always faithful to his wife, and he had a mysterious son with another woman. The son, named William Franklin, was clear he was the son of Franklin's, but notoriously mysterious over who his mother was. Some suspect he was born before Ben married Deborah Reed, making him illegitimate. Another theory is that he cheated on his wife with a mistress who ended up getting pregnant. William was involved with his father's business and even became noteworthy in his own right for helping his father in his famous kite experiment. He eventually settled in England to distance himself from the family, and when he passed he never revealed who his mother was. And at number 6, Kurt Cobain. Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain tragically passed away at the age of 27 in 1994 and is a member of the infamous 27 Club. Law enforcement determined that Cobain took his own life, but there was a lot of inconsistencies in his case that led many to speculate that's not actually how he died. A book was even written blaming the whole thing on Cobain's wife, Courtney Love. The book claims that he died of an OD before being shot by Love. A private detective who was hired determined that Love even tried to pay someone to have them kill Cobain for her. This man claimed he was offered $50,000 and even passed a polygraph proving it. Although Love was never officially charged, she is guilty in the court of public opinion, and many fans are convinced she is responsible, but only Cobain knows the truth. And at number 5, Ludwig van Beethoven. On his deathbed, Beethoven wrote a love letter to the love of his life, although he didn't address it to anyone, so we have no idea who this woman was. When he died in 1827, a letter was left to the Germans' immortal beloved. It was later determined that he wrote the letter years before in 1812. Scholars have tried to speculate who his beloved could be, but there is no clear answer. The The most likely choice seems to be Antoine Bertinano. She was close with him, mainly because she was actually married to a good friend of his. Others proposed Josephine Countess von Brunswick as the most likely candidate because he had written her love letters in the past. It was speculated that since she was poor and of low social standing, he was not allowed to be open about his true feelings for her. Since he never told anyone, only he knows the answer. And at number 4, the Black Dahlia. The Black Dahlia is one of the most infamous cases in LA history. On January 15th of 1947, 22-year-old Elizabeth Short's body was found dead in a vacant lot near a park in LA. The state of her body was the most concerning. Her body was cut in half and all the blood was drained from it. Her body was also perfectly clean, so no evidence was able to be collected from it. There was only one witness that was any help to police. The person claimed they saw a black sedan parked in the area the night before. Since her passing, there have been tons of theories about how or why it happened. And even though so much time has passed, nobody has ever been charged for the crime. Today, the Black Dahlia case remains one of the oldest cold case files in LA, as well as the city's most famous.
At number 3, Juice WRLD. Now this one is more of a conspiracy theory that some fans of the late rapper Juice WRLD believe, but it's pretty intriguing, so I decided to include it on this list. There are some fans out there that believe that Juice WRLD faked his own death. Now this theory could have been created because people didn't want to believe that he was gone, or because he really isn't. Let's go over some of the evidence that people use to support this theory. First of all, fans have pointed out that the rapper somehow eerily predicted the age that he would be when he died. In his song Legends, he rapped, quote, "What's the 27 Club? We ain't making it past 21." End quote. The rapper ended up passing away at the age of 21. Further evidence to support this theory comes from one of the rapper's old tweets where he said, quote, "My goal is to get overly famous, shine for a couple years, then fake my death." Many people have pointed out that when musicians die, their music sales skyrocket as a result, so some believe that Juice WRLD faked his death to boost his music sales. If that really is the case, then perhaps it's not all for personal gain, because before he passed, he told sources about how he uses his money from his music to give back to others. Honestly, who really knows? What are your thoughts on this? At number 2, Chadwick Boseman. Actor Chadwick Boseman was an absolute legend and a role model to so many. He did everything in his power to do his job and bring us entertainment through the vast array of characters he played on screen. Because he worked so hard to bring joy to his fans, this is how the public failed to catch on to a pretty big secret that the actor had been keeping. It turns out that leading up to his passing, Chadwick Boseman had been dealing with a 4-year-long battle with colon cancer, and he ultimately passed away from it. This information was never shared with the public, and we only found out after the actor died, meaning that he was prepared to take the secret with him to the grave. And finally, at number 1, Tupac. Now, I want to know who killed Tupac. The only person who really knows who it was Tupac himself, and that's a secret that he unfortunately took to the grave. The rapper was killed on September 13th, 1996, after an unknown assailant shot him 4 times from a white Cadillac while stopped at an intersection in Las Vegas. We know that Tupac was involved in rivalries with a number of different people, and that his own actions put a target on his back, but even to this day, we have no idea who pulled the trigger 4 times on that September night. It is believed that there are specific ties between the case and certain gang organizations and other rivals, but it is such a messy situation that it's hard to get some solid answers. This is just another one of those Hollywood cases that have gone unsolved, with the star taking the secrets and the knowledge of what really happened to the grave. At number 10, Rock Hudson. Imagine taking one of the biggest secrets about who you really are to your grave. That's essentially what happened with famed Hollywood actor Rock Hudson. Rock was one of the hottest leading males in Hollywood in his heyday, but he lived with a huge secret for his whole life, and people didn't end up finding out about it until after his passing. When Rock passed away in 1985, it was revealed that he had died from AIDS. He became one of the first and most famous Hollywood celebrities to pass away from the illness. Because the illness was so heavily associated with being gay, speculation began to float around saying that Rock had been hiding his sexuality from the public this whole time. This all turned out to be 100% true, as friends and family of Rock confirmed what the public had been thinking in a biography on the actor. In the book, it was revealed that he had an ex-boyfriend named Lee Garlington, and he was described as Rock's true love. Rock's secret was really only known by his closest friends and family and an inner circle of Hollywood, and a lot of them fought to keep his sexuality a secret in order to preserve his career. I couldn't imagine how tough it would be to have to keep such a big part of who you are a secret from the world. At number 9, David Cassidy. Oftentimes we try our best to be open and honest with our struggles in life, but for some it's hard to share some of the things that you might not be too proud of. This is what caused actor David Cassidy to keep a pretty big secret from the public that wasn't actually revealed until after he passed away. Before he passed away, David shared with the public his struggles with dementia. Fans believed that the actor was suffering from the disease, and so when news broke of his death, people just assumed that it was the dementia that ultimately took him. But it wasn't until the documentary about the actor called David Cassidy, The Last Session, came out that the public learned the truth about David's health. It turned out that the actor was never actually diagnosed with dementia, and that this wasn't what was harming his health. Instead, it was alcohol poisoning that he was struggling with, and that ultimately took his life. In the documentary, the actor admitted to everything, saying, quote, "There is no sign of me having dementia at this stage in my life. It was complete alcohol poisoning, and the fact is, I lied about my drinking." End quote. One of the documentary's producers spoke out about having known about the actor's struggles before the public, where they said, quote, "We didn't want to exploit him, but ultimately he was honest about what killed him, and we decided that his legacy would be best served if we shared that." End quote. Before we carry on talking about some of the juiciest celebrity secrets, why not take a brief moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, why not subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Gene Wilder. When someone is diagnosed with a serious illness, it becomes a very tough and very personal decision of whether or not to tell people about it. I know people who chose to keep their illness a secret until the end, and this is exactly what actor Gene Wilder did. Gene passed away in 2016, but it wasn't until after he died that the public learned about the secret that he was keeping in regards to his health. It turned out that the actor had been battling Alzheimer's for over 3 years before he passed away. After learning this, a lot of people wanted to know why this news was kept secret from the public, and the reason behind it is so touching. Gene didn't reveal his condition to the public because he wanted people to remember him as he was, and not someone who was sick. He wanted to keep the smiles on the faces of his fans. In a statement released by Gene's family, they elaborated on the situation, saying, quote, "The decision to wait until this time to disclose his condition wasn't vanity, but more so that the countless young children that would smile or call out to him, 'There's Willy Wonka,' would not have to be then exposed to an adult referencing illness or trouble and causing delight to travel to worry, disappointment, or confusion. He simply couldn't bear the idea of one less smile in the world." End quote. At number 7, Robert Kardashian. Robert Kardashian, the celebrity lawyer, really rose to fame because of the infamous O.J. Simpson case. He was tasked with defending the former football player in his trial, and he was successful at winning his case. However, there was a secret that Robert held that he only shared with one person before taking it to his grave. Robert had told Caitlyn Jenner what he thought about the big O.J. case while he was on his deathbed, and revealed to Jenner that he believed that O.J. really was guilty of taking the lives of 2 people. According to Caitlyn, who wrote about Robert's secret in her memoir, Robert told her, quote, "I would have been okay with it if they had gotten him in the first trial. I believe Simpson got away with 2 savage murders." End quote. O.J. ended up being found not guilty of taking the lives of 2 people, but secretly Robert knew that he was in fact guilty of his crimes. According to Caitlyn, Robert also revealed that he only took the O.J. case to get back at his ex Chris because she was friends with O.J.'s wife before her passing, so there's another secret for you. At number 6, the Notorious B.I.G. The death of rapper The Notorious B.I.G. shocked many people around the world. His death came just a few months after the shooting death of fellow rapper and music rival Tupac Shakur, and both Biggie's and Tupac's deaths remain a mystery. There are secrets involved in Biggie's death, but the biggest one is who killed him. Nothing has really ever been confirmed, and no real arrests were made confirming who the perpetrator was, but earlier this year, a retired FBI agent did shed some light on Biggie's case. The rapper went to the grave with the secret of who really killed him, but this agent alleged that there was some shady business going on and that the whole thing was covered up. Former FBI agent Phil Carson told sources that there was a clear culprit and an effort to cover it all up and make it disappear. According to Carson, quote, "All the evidence points to Amir Muhammad. He was the one who pulled the trigger. There were plenty of others who helped orchestrate it and allowed him to pull the trigger." End quote. Though this can only be considered speculation without the proper evidence, it's still a huge secret that we may never uncover. At number 5, Natalie Wood. Up next, we have another mysterious celebrity death that has a lot of unanswered questions. Actress Natalie Wood died on November 29, 1981, when she drowned while on a boating trip with her husband Robert Wagner. Robert had reported his wife missing after an evening of drinking, and several hours later, her body was found floating face down in the water, wearing a flannel nightgown, down jacket, and socks. When she was first found, her death was ruled an accidental drowning, but after further inspection, investigators found bruises on her body, which suggested that foul play was involved, and the actress's husband became the #1 suspect. Unfortunately, due to lack of evidence, the mystery of how Natalie died was never solved, though her family remains convinced that her husband had something to do with his wife's death. Natalie took the secret of what really happened to her grave, and we may never uncover what really happened to the movie star. At number 4, Gary Francis Post. You might not be familiar with the name Gary Francis Post, but you must be familiar with the name the Zodiac Killer. For decades, the identity of the Zodiac Killer remained a mystery. The killer was able to commit several crimes and evade capture since the late 1960s, and for years, no matter how much people tried to crack the case, it remained cold, with the families of the victims still desperate for answers. Finally though, the identity of the infamous Zodiac Killer was revealed to be a man named Gary Francis Post. Gary though died with a lot of crucial secrets that will probably never be revealed. Other than the fact that when he passed away in 2018, he took the secret of his killer alter ego with him, he also took the secrets to cracking the complex Zodiac ciphers that were sent to different publications. Though some of the ciphers were solved, many of them remain unsolved, though many people have tried. There are so many questions that people wish they could have asked Gary Francis Post, but we will never get that chance. At number 3, Prince. Another celebrity who was something of a secret angel of sorts was Prince. After he passed away in 2016, secrets about the singer started to come out, some of those secrets being about his philanthropy. One person, an environmentalist who worked for the Green Jobs Act, came forward to talk about one of the donations that they had once received anonymously from Prince, where they said that they received a check for $50,000. At first, they sent the check back because it was so out of the blue and they didn't really trust it, but to their surprise, the check came back again, this time with a phone call. The environmentalist then went on to say that the person on the phone said, quote, "I cannot tell you who the money is coming from, but his favorite color is purple." End quote. On top of this anonymous donation, Prince also co-founded an educational effort to help teach minority youths technology called #YesWeCode, and he also made a donation to the family of Trayvon Martin. Speaking out about Prince's philanthropy, his ex-wife said that he never wanted to make these donations public so as to not overshadow the charity or the case. At number 2, Anthony Perkins. Known for his role as Norman Bates in the Hitchcock film Psycho, actor Anthony Perkins lived a pretty quiet and private life, but he also took a very big secret to his grave. When news broke of his passing in 1992, it came as a sudden shock to people. But what the public didn't know at the time was that Anthony had been secretly battling a serious illness that he kept from the public. For 2 years before his passing, the actor had been secretly receiving treatment for AIDS. Speaking out about her husband's treatment, Anthony's wife told sources, quote, "He went twice to stay at a hospital and once as an outpatient, and we went under another name. You think that this man has spent his entire life giving people so much pleasure in show business, and this is his reward. He can't even be himself at the end." End quote. Anthony knew that when the public found out about his condition after his passing, there would be a lot of questions as to why he never publicly revealed his condition, and so before he died, he wrote a statement to be read once he passed on. In the statement, the actor wrote, quote, "I chose not to go public about having AIDS because, to misquote Casablanca, I'm not much at being noble, but it doesn't take much to see that the problems of one old actor doesn't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world." End quote. And finally, at number 1, Billy Tipton. Billy Tipton was a famous jazz musician who kept a huge secret from everyone. This secret was so hush-hush that not even his closest friends or family knew. Billy had a pretty solid career in the beginning. The 40s and 50s were Billy's time to shine, rising to fame and taking American jazz by storm. Billy's career started to decline, however, after he declined an offer for a recording contract and to open for Liberace. After that, the musician started to fade out of the spotlight. Over the course of his life, Billy was married 5 times, adopted 3 kids, and was considered to be a real family man. But one day, when Billy suddenly collapsed, his secret was revealed. While paramedics were trying to save him, it was discovered that Billy wasn't biologically male. Like I mentioned before, no one knew. Literally no one, so this came as a shock to everyone. It turns out that Billy dressed as a man in order to be allowed into the world of jazz. Because of this huge secret, Billy was forced to live a pretty private life in order to avoid being caught.
3. And at number 10, Bob Saget. Legendary comedian Bob Saget passed away suddenly on January 9th in a hotel room in Orlando. Immediately after his passing, fans were speculating on how he passed. After some investigation, it was reported that there was no foul play or use of substances, that he most likely just passed away of a heart attack or stroke. But the autopsy has just come back, and we know that he actually died of blunt force trauma to the head, a much different story than what was said before. The night before he died, Saget did a show at a concert hall in Jacksonville, Florida. Then he was found unresponsive in his room at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando, quote, in a face-upward position on his bed, according to a police report. Police are now saying a fall could be the reason, but other experts are claiming the force used is similar to that of a baseball bat, raising even more questions. As of now, Saget's family is blocking the release of any records pertaining to the case over privacy issues, so it seems we may never know what really happened to cause his death. And at number 9, Naya Rivera. Naya Rivera, best known from the show Glee, shocked the world when it was reported that she had gone missing in a lake in July of 2020. She was out on a boat with her young son, and after many hours on the water, the boat returned with only her son on it. Her child was found asleep on the vessel by a boater that afternoon, alongside Rivera's purse, wallet, and ID, but Naya was nowhere to be found. After searching the lake for days, her body was discovered. The Ventura County Sheriff's Department announced on July 13th that they had recovered her body following an extensive search and recovery effort. Since then, her death has been ruled an accident, but for many fans, the whole thing just seems too strange to be true, and unfortunately we will never know the full story of what happened on the boat that day. And at number 8, Michael Jackson. The king of pop died suddenly at the age of 50 after suffering a cardiac arrest in June of 2009. But there's been so much mystery around his death, it went from being ruled an OD to a homicide. He was found unresponsive in his home, and it was determined that he ingested too much of a substance. After investigation, his personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was charged with manslaughter, with the courts arguing he prescribed Jackson much more than was needed and his prescription caused his death. Years after his passing, allegations of inappropriate conduct from former friends of Jackson's came to light. And ever since, fans have been trying to figure out what really happened between Jackson and the kids he would spend time with at his home. The secrets of what truly happened will now never be uncovered.
At number 7, Corey Haim. Unfortunately, as much as there's glitz and glam in Hollywood, there's also a dark side, one of those dark sides being harming and manipulating others. This is sadly something that actor Corey Haim experienced as a child actor in Hollywood. Both he and his best friend Corey Feldman experienced the dark side of Hollywood, and though Feldman has been pretty outspoken about what he endured, Haim on the other hand kept that top secret. The one thing that he kept absolutely hidden was the identity of the person who seriously harmed him. Haim went to the grave knowing the identity of the person who harmed him, but this secret isn't completely lost, as it's alleged that Corey Feldman actually knows who did it. Feldman tried in the past to get his friend to expose the person who caused him so much pain, but Haim refused because he was so scared that this individual would try and hurt them again. Haim made Corey promise that he would share the story of what happened to them if he died, and Corey did share some details, but again, the identity of the person who hurt Corey Haim remains a secret. At number 6, Sally Ride. Up next, we have another celebrity who unfortunately didn't get to live their life as open as they should have been able to, as they went to the grave with a huge secret. Astronaut Sally Ride was the first American woman to go to space. She became widely known for her presence in the NASA community, promoting education and interest in space, and specifically devoted much of her life to helping girls excel in STEM. She did a lot for her community, especially women and young girls, but there was another community that she was a part of that no one really knew about until after she passed away. When Sally passed away in 2012, her title grew to not only be the first American woman to go to space, but also the first astronaut to be acknowledged as gay. Sally's sexuality was never public knowledge until her obituary named a woman named Tan O'Shaughnessy as her partner of 27 years. At number 5, Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston's personal life was often a hot topic in the media during her life. People were obsessed with what went on behind closed doors, the good and the bad. Though a lot of her personal life was exposed, one thing that remained a secret until her tragic passing was a horrible incident that she had endured when she was younger. After some digging and a published documentary, the world learned that Whitney was once a victim of inappropriate contact. After the singer passed away, her former assistant told the documentary team that Whitney had once confided in her to tell her about what she had endured when she was younger. The assistant told cameras, quote, "Whitney looked at me and said, 'Mary, I was harmed at a young age too, but it wasn't by a man, it was a woman. She had tears in her eyes. She says, "Mommy doesn't know the things that we went through,'" end quote. Though she never spoke publicly about what happened to her, it is believed that Whitney once hinted at it in an interview when she got really emotional when talking about adults taking advantage of children. At number 4, George Michael. Imagine being portrayed negatively in the media for basically your whole career just for the narrative to make a 180 after your passing. This is the case with singer George Michael and how his public image changed after he passed away. During his career, George was seen as scandalous and the media really dug into this while he was alive, but after he passed away in 2016, the truth about who George Michael really was came out, and it was a very different narrative. He took the secret of his philanthropy to his grave, but many people wish that he was around to be appreciated for giving back to the people. The public came to learn that the singer made many large donations to a wide array of charities like cancer support groups and the Terrence Higgins Trust, which is an HIV awareness group. He kept all of his donations a secret and made sure that no one receiving these donations knew that he was behind it. He was a secret angel giving back to people without receiving any credit, which just shows that this help was genuine, not just for good press.
And at number 2, George Reeves. In 1959, actor George Reeves was killed under very mysterious circumstances. He made a name for himself playing Superman in the 1950s TV show Adventures of Superman, but his career was cut short after he was killed. At the age of 45, he was killed by a shot to the head. The strange death was then labeled as him taking his own life, but many fans do not believe this could be the case. It was rumored that he was intentionally killed or the death was completely accidental. To add even more strangeness, the death happened while Reeves was with 3 other people, including his fiancée. But even though all those people most likely witnessed what actually happened, none of them ever told. And finally, at number 1, Nicole Brown Simpson. One of the most talked about cases of all time is the case of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. Their death started the case of O.J. Simpson that would become the trial of the century. Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman were killed outside Simpson's Brentwood, California condo in 1994. After some investigation, it was clear that O.J., her ex-husband, was the prime suspect. His DNA had been found at the crime scene, and witnesses saw him leaving the scene of the crime that night. After an intense and highly publicized trial, he was found not guilty, and with no other suspects considered, the person responsible is still out there. Although many people are convinced that O.J. is the person who did it, and lucky circumstances are the real reason he got off. He was later found guilty of committing the act in a civil lawsuit done by Ron Goldman's family, but because of O.J.'s financial troubles, he has not paid this debt. Years later, O.J. went to prison for robbery and is now out free.